This video is going to go over 5.2a, which is solving systems. Basically, a system is two lines, and you're finding out where those lines intersect. So just keep that in mind as you solve all these. You're just finding the intersection of two lines. Basically, there's two ways that we solve systems. The most preferable way and the most common is probably substitution. That would look something like this. That's where they give you like one of the variables equal to something. So when they do this, basically all you have to do is take whatever they gave as that variable was equal to and plug it in. So here's what it would look like. You change the letter x to just be whatever it was equal to. So 2y minus 1 in this case. You are just substituting it in. Now, you're probably going to have to do some distribution and stuff, but that's probably the hardest part. Then you'll just have to combine like terms and solve. So like here, I distributed that 2, so now I got 4y minus 2. Now I'm going to combine these like terms, so that's 7y minus 2 equals 12. Add 2, divide by 7. Now I know what y equals. And so I could plug it into either equation. It doesn't matter. I could plug it into here, or I could plug it into this equation to find out what x equals. I would probably just plug it into the bottom one. So it would look like this. Change the letter y to a 2. So you get 4 minus 1, which is 3. Now, when you write your answer, you're going to want to write it as an xy coordinate. So that would look like 3, 2. It's my x and my y. All right, the other way that they'll usually do these is by elimination. So here's what's going to happen. Sometimes you're going to be adding these things vertically, these equations vertically, straight down. Sometimes it'll be nice and they'll give you one that's going to cancel. When this happens, just go add these equations. So like 2x and 4x makes 6x. The 3y plus negative 3y cancels. And then 12 plus 6 makes 18. Then you can just divide and get your x value and then plug it in to either one of these equations is fine. I'll plug it into the top one, so it'd look like this. And go solve it. So now that I know my xy, I can write it as a coordinate. That's best case scenario, but what's probably going to happen is they're not going to give you one that if you just add it together cancels. So when this happens, you have to scale one of these equations. So like in my head, if this said -2 right here, I could add these things together and cancel that x. So I'm going to scale this bottom equation by -2. So this is what it's going to turn into. The top equation does not change. However, the bottom equation, you have to distribute a -2 to all of these things. Now, it's just like the previous example. If you add vertically here, the 2x and minus 2x cancel, which is what you wanted in the first place. This becomes -5y. This should have said -22. And so this part becomes -10. Then just divide, y equals 2. Now you can plug it into any of these equations. I'm just going to go with this, sorry, it's going to the y. I'm just going to go with this first equation. So it would look like this. And just go solve it. So now I got my x value, my y value, and I can write it as a coordinate. So that's how we're going to be solving all of these. I hope that made sense. Here we go. Look at number 1. They're telling us to do it with substitution. They're giving us what x is equal to, -3y minus 9. So you're just going to go plug that in for this letter x right here. So it'd look like this. -2 did not change. Now, instead of writing the letter x, I write parentheses -3y minus 9. Then I've got my -3y equals 12. you're going to have to distribute this -2. So it's going to become 6y plus 18. Combine your like terms. Subtract 18. Divide by 3. So now I know my y value is -2. Once I know this, I can just plug in -2 right here to get my x. So it would look like this. I got -3. Instead of writing the letter y, I just write -2. I'm substituting it in there. So I'd get x equals 6 minus 9, which is -3. So my answer here would be -3, -2. All right, the next one. They're giving me what y equals. So I can just go plug it in for the letter y right here. So it's going to look like this, 4x plus 3. But instead of writing the letter y, I write 2x minus 7. You will have to distribute that 3. So it's going to turn into 4x. Now it's plus 6x minus 21 equals 4. Combine like terms. Add 21. Divide by 10. Oops. Now that I know what x is, I can go solve for y. I'd probably just use this bottom equation here. Y equals, instead of writing x, I'm going to write 2.5, which is what x equals. So that turns into 5 minus 7, which is -2. So now I know my answer is 2.5, -2. And you could totally have that 2.5 as a fraction, like 5 halves. Okay, this next one. This is elimination. That's where you look to see if you add it vertically, if one of these letters will cancel. In this first example, the 2y and minus 2y would cancel. So I can just add these things vertically, get 5x equals 10. Divide by 5 and you get x equals 2. Now plug that into either of these equations. I'm going to use the bottom equation, so it's going to look like this. Instead of writing x, I write 2 plus 2y equals 3. I'm using this equation right here and changing the letter x. Subtract 2. Divide by 2. I got y equals 1/2. So my answer here would be 2, 1/2. Do the next one. The next one's kind of tricky because you're really going to have to change both of these equations. If you look at it, like I can't just change one of them, because then it would say, like, if I times by 2, it would say 6x. I could do fractions if I wanted to, but I really don't want to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make both of these numbers cancel using 15s. Like I'm going to make this first one say 15. Then I'm going to make the second one say -15. Then they would cancel, right? So that means the first one I'm going to times by 5 on the whole thing. And the second one I'm going to times by -3 on the whole thing. And when you distribute all this, this is what it'll turn into. The top is 15x plus 35y equals 75. The bottom equation is going to be -15x minus 6y equals 12. Now if I add these things together, the x's will cancel, and I'll be left with 29y equals 87. Now divide by 29 and you get y equals 3. Now when you know y equals 3, you can use any equation here to solve for x. You can use the first one, the second one, or even after you change them. It does not matter. I'm going to use the very first equation. So it's going to look like this. 3x plus 7 times y, which is now 3, equals 15. Multiply that out. Minus 21. Divide by 3. I got x equals -2. So my answer here would be negative 2 comma 3. Okay, this next one. These are pretty close. This 4x and x, or 4x. If this had said negative 4x, then they would have canceled, right? So the bottom equation or top, it doesn't matter. I'm going to use the bottom. It's going to get times by negative 1. So that top equation does not change. 4x plus 9y equals 1. The bottom equation, though, it's going to turn into, you're going to distribute a negative 1 to everything. So that's negative 4x minus 6y equals positive 2 now. Now I can add these things together, cancel the x's, get 3y equals 3, divide by 3. I know y equals 1. Plug it into any equation. I'm going to use this top equation. So 4x plus 9y is 1 equals 1. Multiply it out. 4x plus 9 equals 1. Subtract 9. Divide by 4. Now I know my x. So my answer here would be negative 2 comma 1. Okay, now they love word problems for system of equations. They're not that difficult to do. Here we go. And by the way, you can use x's and y's. You can use any letter you want. H's, r's, doesn't matter. So here we go. 5 recorders and 4 harmonicas cost $62. Make an equation out of that. 5 recorders plus 4 harmonicas equals $62. All right, make another equation. 10 recorders and 3 harmonicas is 84. 10 recorders plus 3 harmonicas is 84. Now, I'm going to try to do elimination here. So I want this top equation to say minus 10r because then it would cancel, right? So I have to scale this top equation by negative 2. You're going to distribute that to all of these things. So it's going to turn into minus 10r minus 8h equals negative 124. My bottom equation, the blue one, did not change. Now I can add these little dividing line there. Now I can add these equations together. The r's would cancel. I would get negative 5h equals negative 40. Divide by negative 5, and I got h equals 8. Now you're plugging it into any equation. I'm going to plug it into this very original red equation. So it looked like 5r plus 4h, h is now 8, equals 62. Multiply it out. That's an r. Subtract 32. Divide by 5. So they wanted the cost of a recorder. So R was 6, H was 8, but you got to think which one was the recorder. The recorder was the letter R. So my answer here would be $6. All right, look at this next one. Make 2 equations out of it. Good seats were $5 each. Bad seats were $2 each. So go ahead and start making an equation out of that. You got good seats at $5 each and bad seats at $2 each. Go look at how much money was spent. Look for the dollar sign, $660. There's one equation. Now, this second equation is kind of tricky to get. You kind of have to use your head. There's 210 people at the game. That means the amount of good seats plus the bad seats was 210 people. That one's kind of tricky. Now that I've got my equations, I'm going to go ahead and solve by elimination. I'm going to make this say -5 right here. So I have to scale this bottom equation by a -5. So it's going to turn into this. The top equation did not change. 5g plus 2b equals 660. The bottom equation, though, is going to turn into -5g minus 5b equals negative 1050. Add these equations together. The g's cancel. So you get negative 3b equals, what is that, negative 390? Yeah. Divide by negative 3. Now I know the bad seats had 130. So go back to either equation. I'm going to use this one, g plus b equals 210. So g plus b, which is 130, equals 210. Subtract 130, you get 80 for the good. So find out what they want. They want how many people bought good seats. That would be 80 people. All right, these last two more word problems. The first one. The first day they sold 3 student and 1 adult ticket for $38. 3 student plus 1 adult was $38. The next equation, $52 from 3 student and 2 adults. 3 students plus 2 adult makes 52. All right, I have my 2 equations. I'm going to scale one of these. Look, if this said negative 3, these things would cancel, right? So just do this bottom equation by negative 1. So the top, the red, would not change. The bottom one would become negative 3s minus 2a equals negative 52. Now I can add these together, cancel my s's. This would be negative a equals negative 14, divide by negative 1. A was 14. So now use either equation to go solve for the other letter. I'm just going to use this top one. So it'd be 3s plus 1a, which is just 14, equals 38. Subtract 14. Divide by 3. So now I have my answers. And they said, find the price of a student ticket. Student ticket was 8, so my answer would be $8. And this last one, a school's using vans and buses. So the first school used 1 van, 6 buses for this many students, 327. So 1 van plus 6 buses makes 327 students. My next equation, 4 vans, 12 buses, 780. 4 vans, 12 buses, 780. All right, I want to solve this by elimination. So if this said negative 4, I could just add them together and cancel, right? So that's what I'm going to scale this top equation by. So it'd look like this. Negative 4v minus 24b equals negative 1308. Now the blue equation did not change. Okay, add these together. You get negative 12b equals negative 528, I think. Looks good. All right, divide by negative 12. Let's see, that's going to be 44. Yeah. All right, so now I know b is 44, and then I just choose any equation. I'm just going to choose this top one to plug it into. So it looked like v plus 6 times 44 equals 327. Multiply it out, 264. Subtract 264. What's that going to be? 63. So in terms of my answer, how many students could fit on 1 van and 1 bus? Well, a van can hold 63 people, a bus can hold 44 people, so total that'd be 44 people plus 63 people, which would be 107 people. So that's how you solve these. Elimination's the way to go if you can make it happen. If you can understand to scale something and then just distribute it to the entire equation and rewrite it, and then just add these things vertically so that stuff cancels, then you're going to be really good at this. But you can also do it through substitution if they give you like y equals something or x equals something. So hope this video helped.